Celebrities who seriously annoyed the Queen. Mick Jagger. In 2003, Rolling Stones frontman, Mick Jagger, was knighted as Sir Michael Philip Jagger after having been nominated by then Prime Minister, Tony Blair. However, the Queen was not present at the knighting ceremony. Instead, she was at the hospital undergoing knee surgery. Moreover, it's been rumored that the Queen may, in fact, have chosen that specific date for her surgery, for the express purpose of giving herself an excuse to not be on hand at the ceremony. Apparently, the Queen had numerous reasons to oppose Jagger's nomination. These include Jagger's apparent disinterest in charitable causes, despite his massive personal fortune, and his having lived abroad since the early 1970s. Add that to the fact that the musician had been outspoken on multiple occasions regarding his disdain for the Queen, whom he supposedly referred to as Chief Witch, and the monarchy in general. But according to the Daily Mail, the most likely reason for the Queen's dislike of Jagger was the scandalous nature of Jagger's relationship with her younger sister, Princess Margaret. It's possible that Jackie was unimpressed by the Queen's sense of style. It's also possible that the Queen might have sensed the same or heard it through the grapevine. Certainly, this would present a good reason for Her Majesty to feel annoyed by the American celeb. However, there's no evidence to suggest that's the way things actually went. That said, it's quite possible the Queen found Jackie Kennedy annoying, but for other reasons. Diana, Princess of Wales. On August 31, 1997, Princess Diana passed away in a car crash in Paris. In the days that followed, Queen Elizabeth remained at Balmoral Castle with her grandsons and spoke to no members of the media. As many around the world were reacting with understandable shock to Diana's demise. The Queen was criticized as a result, her reticence being blamed on years of resentment over the marital discord between Princess Diana and Prince Charles. Not to mention the fact that Diana aired personal grievances she had with Charles and the royal family to journalists. However, according to Ingrid Seward, author of the book, The Queen and the Queen's silence was reflective of her grief over the terrible loss, as opposed to bad blood between her and her former daughter-in-law. However, that does not mean that the Queen did not find herself, at times, annoyed or at least put off somewhat by Diana. Apparently, the princess' openness about her emotions and how she chose to express them, often to the media, was thought of as most unbecoming by the monarch. Vladimir Putin. Queen Elizabeth is the United Kingdom's head of state, but the terms of the UK's constitutional monarchy requires that she remain strictly neutral with regard to all political matters. According to the royal family's official website, the Queen does not vote or stand for election. Nevertheless, The Express reported that in 2003, the Queen was said to have expressed disdain for Russian President Vladimir Putin during his historic visit to the UK. It was Russia's first official state visit to the UK in 125 years. As the story goes, Lord David Blunkett, who was the UK's Home Secretary at the time of Putin's visit, and who has been blind since birth, uses a guide dog. During a 2019 episode of the BBC's Any Questions programme, Lord Blunkett recalled how his then guide dog reacted to meeting President Putin by barking loudly. And very loudly at that, according to Blunkett. So loudly, in fact, that Blunkett felt obliged to apologise afterwards to the Queen. And what Blunkett reportedly recalled the Queen's response as, "Dogs have interesting instincts, don't they?" Meghan Markle. No one would deny the bad blood between Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and her granddaughter-in-law, Meghan Markle. Meghan is of course married to Prince Harry, and she retains the Duchess of Sussex title despite moving to the US and stepping down from her duties as a senior member of the royal family. At the very least, Markle's apparent interest in politics would likely be somewhat vexing for the Queen. the monarch's role requires her to remain neutral on political issues, a requirement that extends to the rest of the royal family as well. As recently as October 20, 2021, Markle was known to have written directly to U.S. Senate leaders Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, urging them to pass legislation requiring paid leave for working parents, at least during the pandemic. The letter has prompted some royal fans and supporters to call for the Duchess to be stripped of her title. Whether the Queen will ever remove Meghan's title remains to be seen, but it is becoming clear that Queen Elizabeth II has had numerous reasons to be annoyed at the former actor. For instance, Markle has spoken openly about her time within the royal family, and most of her revelations have been negative. For her part, the Queen has proclaimed her sadness over her lack of connection with her great-grandson Archie, and presumably, her newborn great-granddaughter Lilibet, according to royal expert Ingrid Seward. Donald Trump. There could be any number of reasons why someone might find former U.S. President Donald Trump to be annoying. However, it would appear that Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II has her own unique reason, and it happens to be personal. During a June 2019 visit with the Queen in connection with the D-Day commemorations, President Trump did permanent damage to one of the Queen's prized possessions, according to The Express. That prized possession was the Buckingham Palace lawn. Apparently, the Sunday Times reported. Trump insisted on flying into Buckingham Palace by helicopter twice in one day. Of course, the palace lawn was not meant to serve as a helicopter landing pad, and, accordingly, the helicopter left scorch marks and craters in the grass. According to The Express, the next day, when Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison paid a visit to the Queen brought him into the gardens to show him what Trump had done. A source close to Morrison says the Queen told the Prime Minister, "Come and look at my lawn. It's ruined." Nor was this the first time that the Queen was heard deriding Trump's helicopter usage. 1 year earlier, in the documentary, Queen's Green Planet, the Queen was captured on film, joking around with Sir David Attenborough that the sound of a noisy aircraft above reminded her of Trump.